welcome to day number 5. This is going to be find the flow. We're going to take the hips through some gentle movements, just so that the hips can start getting even more used to some beautiful flow and movement. It's going to be 3 simple exercises. At least I like to think they're simple. Today you're going to need a chair. Okay, so to start off, we're going to do pelvic clocks. I find sometimes people struggle to understand what they're trying to do with this exercise the first time they try it. So you're going to lay on your back, and I want you to imagine your pelvis is on a wobbly board, and there's a ball under that wobbly board, and you're going to track around the edges of the ball with your pelvis. We'll do a couple in one direction, a couple in the other direction. You may find the second direction a bit more challenging for your brain. But for the first one, I want you to go with what feels natural first. So, laying down on your back, feet and knees roughly fist distance apart, pelvis neutral, ribs connected. So we want that entire spine in a neutral position. I want the knees to be as still as possible. So the movement is coming from the abdominals doing the work so we can get into that core again. I want you to avoid pushing into the feet to make that circle bigger. Okay, you can go in whichever direction works for you. I'm just going to explain the direction I'm going. So first I'm going to tilt the pelvis so that the lower back imprints. We've done this many, many times already. Then I'm going to roll onto my left hip. So the right hip raises a bit. Then I'm going to circle through into a gentle arch. And then I'm going to roll through to the right hip and back into that tuck with my lower back imprinted. So I'm just tracking the pressure around the edges of my sacrum. So the sacrum is the diamond-shaped, triangular shaped bone sitting at the back of your pelvis that your coccyx attaches to and creates that tailbone. So make the movement small. My knees don't have massive movement. I don't want to see everything rocking around. We're trying to isolate and control that movement through the abdominals. And now let's change the direction. So imprinting, rolling onto that right hip, moving through to that arch, rolling onto the left hip, and back to the imprint. It's actually a nice little massage for the back of the pelvis as well. My sacrum protrudes a decent amount, so sometimes if I lay on my back for an extended period of time, that pressure can become uncomfortable. So this just gives it a beautiful, gentle release or massage. Okay, so just give me a couple more circles in that direction. Then we're going to level up a little bit. Okay. So we're going to go in for our pelvic curl, then we're going to lift one leg to 90 and down again, and then we'll return back to the mat, rise up, do the same thing on the other side. The trick is to keep your pelvis extremely steady and still. That's where that deep core activation that we've been practicing is going to come into play. Tighten that core around your spine like a corset. So we're going to inhale. Exhale, scoop the navel, tuck the pelvis using the abdominals. Then bring the legs in, deepen that tuck. Lead with your pubic bone as you peel your spine up and off the floor. Eyes parallel to the thighs. Aiming for a straight line from knees, hips to shoulders. Ribs are still connected. Arms are reaching towards the end of the mat and lightly pressing down to bring some assistance from a supportive perspective. Okay, keep that tummy drawn in as you inhale. Exhale, press into that right foot and lift that left leg up to tabletop. You're going to inhale to lower that left leg down, and then exhale, roll the spine back down onto the mat. What does often happen is the hip will dip. So you want to make sure that that glute is still beautifully engaged while those abs are nice and tight. We're going to go with the other side. We inhale, exhale, scooping, tucking, rising up. Light pressure in the arms, tight tummy. Exhale to lift the right leg up to a tabletop, keeping those hips consistent. Inhale to lower that foot back down, and then exhale, rolling back down through the spine. Return the pelvis to neutral at the bottom. Okay. I like to also tell people to think about the leg that's still on the floor. That inner thigh, you want to imagine connecting with the oblique on the opposite side. So if it's right inner thigh, it's left oblique. It's like a cross activation, and it'll really help you stay grounded. So let's go again with that in mind. Exhale, scooping, tucking, peeling and rising up. Inhale. Now think, right inner thigh, left oblique, and lifting up. Inhale down, and exhale, roll back down through the spine. So when you bring little tidbits like that into the equation, it really helps to provide a good amount of stability. And let's go with the other side. Exhale, scooping, tucking, rising. Now think left inner thigh, right oblique, and exhale to lift that right leg up. You're going to feel that glute on that stabilizing side. Inhale back down, and exhale, rolling back down. Let's dive in for one more set. Inhale, exhale, scooping, tucking, rising. Right inner thigh, left oblique. Exhale, left leg up to tabletop. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, rolling down through the spine, release to neutral. And last one, exhale, scooping, tucking, rising up. Inhale, exhale, right leg up to tabletop, left inner thigh, right oblique. Inhale down, and exhale, rolling that spine down for the last time. If you feel a bit of tension in the lower back, hug the knees into the chest with a gentle rock from side to side. So that is the more difficult exercise of the three. So you can either rock yourself up or roll onto your side and then rise up, whichever way feels more comfortable and safe for you. Now, we are going to go into our seated hinges. This is something you can do from your desk at work. You are going to be seated on the chair. Legs are roughly fist distance apart. Ankles directly below the knees, 90-degree bend. Hands are on the thighs. Now, I don't want you using the arms to do the work. They are there for as much as you need, not as much as you want. Sitting tall, we want to keep that spine in neutral the entire time. We are going to hinge from the hip joint. We're going to inhale, hinging forward. So this is a nice hip movement that's not very loaded. Now you tighten that tummy and exhale to rise back up. Imagine that your spine is a fixed pole hinging forward from the hips. We inhale forward, keep the neckline long. Exhale, tighten that tummy, lengthen through the crown of the head as you restack back to your upright position. Let's go for 3 more. You inhale forward. I'm not actually using my hands, but they're there just in case. Exhale, tummy tight to support that lower back. Lengthen and rise back up. Let's go 2 more. Inhaling to lean forward. Tight tummy, lengthen and exhale to rise. If you're quite intentional about this exercise, you'll really feel those abdominals kick in. And last one, inhale, hinging forward. And exhale to restack and rise. So why this exercise is involved in terms of getting the hips to track correctly. Well, not track correctly, but to move. When you hinge forward, the hip joint needs to externally rotate in order to make space for you to come forward. And then as you rise back up, it will internally rotate those hip joints back to our start position. So there we are starting to guide and glide through that flexion and extension of that hip joint. So it may seem like a very simple exercise, and what's the point of it? But it's actually a really nice, simple way of getting that beautiful tracking going. Oh, I keep saying tracking, and look at this crazy hair from laying on the floor. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the session. Simple, short, but powerful when you really focus on the detail and the technique of the exercises. If you're finding that the single leg bridge with a toe tap, darling, is a little bit too challenging for you, then just go back down, get that pelvic curl going. When the pelvis is down, then do that single leg lift and come back up. So that's just an alternative you can throw in if you're finding it a wee bit too much for you today. But thank you so much for joining. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.